The same woman who had towed my car and tried to ruin my life had just discovered that I was now her landlord. My billionaire grandfather's secret didn't just make me wealthy. It turned HOA President Linda into my personal servant. She had believed she could crush me, but she hadn't known about the one clause in that will that would place her home directly under my control. Wait until you see her reaction when she realizes she must obey my every order just to stay under this roof. This was the ultimate revenge. Alex lingered at the back of the packed funeral, head bowed. He hadn't come for money or the sprawling estate. He had come to bid farewell to the only person who had ever shown him genuine care, his grandfather, Silas. While the rest of the family occupied the front rows in tailored black and checked expensive watches, Alex stood in his worn jacket, hands roughened from long shifts to cover his mother's medical bills. But grief wasn't the mood in the room. Greed was. At the forefront was Linda, Alex's aunt by marriage and the notorious HOA president. Linda thrived on dominance. Just 2 weeks earlier, she had used her power to have Alex's battered car towed, declaring it an eyesore to the neighborhood. Fully aware it was his only way to get his mother to the hospital, she had sneered directly at him. "People like you don't belong here. Alex, why don't you just vanish?" As the service concluded, the family moved to Silas's grand library for the will reading. Linda whispered to her husband, David, plotting which wing of the mansion they'd renovate first. "You did this. I can't believe it." "No, wait. It wasn't me. Liar. I saw you heading in." "Get out," she hissed, venom dripping from her words. "This is for the real heirs. You were erased from Silas's life years ago. Guards, remove him." The security moved toward Alex, but before they could touch him, Mr. Henderson, the family attorney, slammed his briefcase. The loud crack echoed, freezing everyone. "Wait," Henderson said, eyes locked on Linda. "Alex stays." The final instructions of Mr. Silas clearly state that no meeting proceeds and no assets may be touched unless Alex is seated at the head of this table. Linda's face drained of color. "Impossible. He's a nobody," she shrieked. Henderson remained steady, opening a thick wax-sealed envelope. "Alex, your grandfather knew exactly what was happening in this family and left a special message just for Linda." The library turned ice cold as the first page of the will was revealed. Silence smothered the room. Linda froze, jaw slack, as Henderson began to read. Silas Vance, being of sound mind, recognize my family has become a nest of vipers. To my daughter-in-law, Linda, who values rules and authority. You have spent years looking down on those with less. You had my grandson's car towed while I was on my deathbed, not out of necessity, but out of cruelty. David tried to interrupt, but Henderson held up a hand. "The terms are absolute. I hereby bequeath my entire estate, this mansion, all offshore accounts, and the very land you occupy, to my grandson Alex." Gasps erupted. Linda's knees nearly buckled. Henderson continued. "There is a living condition attached. Alex receives full title in 30 days, provided he resides here starting tonight. During this period, the remaining family, specifically Linda and David, will live in the guest quarters as domestic staff. Linda, you are head maid. David, you are groundskeeper. Refusal or disrespect will result in immediate eviction with zero inheritance and a lifetime ban from all Vance properties." Linda screamed, "I am the HOA president. I don't scrub floors. I give orders." Her eyes blazed at Alex. "You think you can do this? You're nothing but a pathetic loser in a ragged jacket." Alex, who had remained quiet, slowly stood. He approached a mahogany desk, lifted the mansion keys, and for the first time didn't look like a grieving boy. He looked like a king. Leaning close to Linda, he said coldly, "Linda, as owner, I notice your shoes tracking mud on my Persian rugs. Since you're the head maid, I suggest you fetch a bucket and bleach. Don't miss the corners. I like them spotless." Linda went ghost white. Leaving meant poverty. Staying meant servitude to the man she had tried to ruin. The power had shifted, and her nightmare had only begun. The next morning, Linda woke not in silk sheets, but in the cramped servant quarters. No brunch at 9. Alex knocked at 5 a.m., holding a bucket, sponge, and heavy-duty degreaser. "What is the meaning of this?" she snapped, regaining her HOA persona. "I have a committee meeting at noon." Alex checked his watch calmly. "According to your service clause, your shift starts now. Since you love towing cars, here's a special project." He led her to the 12-car garage. In the center, Alex's old, rusted mud-cake sedan, her victim 2 weeks ago, sat. "This car is an eyesore. Hand wash every inch. Rim so shiny I can see my reflection. Use the old rags, not the mansion towels." Linda's eyes teared with fury. "I am a lady. I don't wash junk cars." "Then you are free to leave," Alex said, pointing to the gate. "Step out without finishing, and Mr. Henderson will remove you from the will entirely. Homeless by noon. Sponge your street." Trembling, humiliated, Linda grabbed a bucket. For 4 hours, the neighborhood's most powerful woman scrubbed the very car she had tried to destroy. Neighbors gawked. Alex sipped coffee on the porch, savoring justice. As she reached the back bumper, Linda noticed a hidden compartment near the trunk. Inside, a dusty envelope addressed in Silas's handwriting. Heart racing, she whispered, "Silas left me a backup plan." With wet, shaking hands, she tore it open, imagining a secret inheritance or weapon to reclaim her throne. But her smirk vanished, replaced by pure horror. Inside was a stack of invoices and a legal confession. For the past 5 years, Linda had been embezzling HOA funds to finance her lavish lifestyle, and Silas had been. Silas hadn't just left Alex the mansion. Quietly, he had been buying up Linda's debts over the past months. She hadn't realized it, but every unpaid loan, every hidden charge, and every shred of evidence of her fraud had been collected for this moment. Alex didn't just inherit the estate. He inherited control over the very life Linda thought she owned. "Alex!" she screamed, charging toward the porch where he sat, coffee in hand. You knew about all of this." Alex calmly placed his cup down and studied the papers in his hand. "I didn't just know, Linda. I waited for you to discover them yourself. These documents prove that you no longer own your house. You use it as collateral. And guess who bought the debt from the bank yesterday morning?" Linda's knees buckled, and she collapsed onto the wet driveway beside the car she had just spent hours scrubbing. The very car she had once weaponized to control him. The fine she had imposed on neighbors. The lives she tried to ruin. It all rested on a fragile structure that Alex had just dismantled completely. "Now," Alex said, voice sharp and professional, "you have 2 choices. Complete your 30 days of service, or I hand these papers to the authorities immediately. Embezzlement carries a long prison sentence. Linda, I hear prison uniforms aren't made of silk." Her eyes darted between the bucket of soapy water and the front gate. Neighbors still lingered, whispering and pointing at the fallen HOA queen. Alex didn't just want her money. He wanted her to feel every ounce of shame she had forced on others. "What's my next task?" she whispered, voice trembling, spirit finally broken. Alex gestured toward the overgrown hedges lining the estate. "The HOA has strict rules about hedge height, doesn't it, President Linda? Grab the manual shears. Every single leaf will be trimmed by hand." Days passed. Hours bled into each other as Linda toiled, scrubbing, pruning, and obeying every instruction Alex issued. Finally, the 30th day arrived. The mansion gate swung open, and a fleet of black SUVs rolled into the driveway. It wasn't just Mr. Henderson. The HOA board and local media had arrived. Linda, wearing her tattered apron and clutching the garden shears, looked like a shadow of her former self. She had spent the last month exhausted, humiliated, and at the mercy of Alex's commands. "The 30 days are over," she rasped. "I served. Now, give me my share and leave me alone." Alex approached, radiating authority and confidence. He handed the final document to Mr. Henderson. "Conditions fulfilled," the lawyer announced. "Alex Vance is now the sole owner of the entire Vance estate, all liquid assets, and the deed to Linda's former home." Linda's eyes widened. "What? You said if I served, I'd be safe." Alex corrected her, calm and precise. "You weren't evicted during the 30 days. But today, the 30 days are over." He turned to the HOA board members. "I have a surprise for you all. As the new owner of most property in this district, I now hold enough voting power to dissolve the HOA immediately. Effective now, it is disbanded. No more fines. No more predatory towing. No more Linda. The neighbors erupted into cheers. But Alex wasn't finished. He handed the envelope of Linda's embezzlement evidence to the lead board member. And since Linda's unpaid debts meant Alex now legally owned her house, he had decided to convert it into a community center for the very people she had bullied for years. Linda dropped her shears. Silence fell. She had no title, no house, no job, and a mountain of legal trouble looming. She watched as Alex strode toward his grandfather's now spotless car. "You ruined me," she whispered, defeated. "No, Linda," Alex said, opening the car door. "You ruined yourself. I just made sure you had to clean up the mess." As Alex drove away toward his new life, the neighborhood celebrated. Justice hadn't just been served. It had been delivered in a bucket of soapy water. My YouTube channel, DH Story. Like, comment, and share this video. Thanks.